Hello and welcome to Gaming History 101. My name is Sasha and I'll be your host today. Trip Hawkins is one of the guys that created one of the most hated companies in all of gaming history, EA. And I'll let you figure out why. I don't want to get incriminated here, but did you know he also created one of the most interesting game consoles of all time? Yeah, he created the 3DO company. See, the 3DO logo. He created the 3DO company, which created the 3DO. That's what we're going to talk about this week. So, without further ado, let's get right into the history of this system. In 1982, Trip Hawkins founded Electronic Arts. As you can probably tell, Electronic Arts likes to pull a lot of stunts. I think a few years ago they tried to trademark the word ghost, which went very well for them. Most notably, they reverse engineered the Sega Genesis and started releasing their own games for it, and that went on until basically Sega just got tired of telling them what to do and let them do whatever the hell they wanted on their system. However, Electronic Arts quickly grew tired of this, and they wanted to release their own system which would surpass both the Genesis and the Super Nintendo. And the TurboGrafx 16, but no one talks about the TurboGrafx 16. I'll talk about it sometime, don't worry. The hardware business was a lot different than the software business, which meant that everything they knew that would apply in the software business may not apply in the hardware business. In 1992, EA's board of directors decided to branch off into a separate group called San Mateo Software Group, and soon after it became a completely separate company free of any bounding of EA. This company signed deals with 6 companies at the start, which were EA, as you know, the apple doesn't fall very far from the tree, LG, Matsushita, now known as Panasonic, AT&T, MCA, and Time Warner. The 3DO company collected a royalty on each console sold and charged $3 royalty on each game that was sold, which was low compared to the royalty payments of Nintendo and Sega, which both didn't charge any less than $10. The licensing method describes why the 3DO became available from no less than 4 different manufacturers. To game publishers, the low $3 per game deal was a lot better than the higher royalties paid to Nintendo and Sega when making games for their consoles. The 3DO company also started developing software to help kickstart hardware sales. It developed a few games to showcase what the hardware could do, and then a few more in genres that weren't covered by their software licensees. Some of the best received titles were ports of arcade or PC games that cartridge-based systems at the time just simply weren't capable of playing, such as Alone in the Dark, Myst, and Star Control 2. Since its release coincided with the arrival of the modern FPS, the 3DO also had some of the earliest members of the genre as exclusives, such as Escape from Monster Manor, as well as ports of Wolfenstein 3D and Doom. The first 3DO console, the Panasonic FZ1, also known as the Real System, released on October 4th, 1993 in North America for a price of, $699. That's about the equivalent of $12,000. Keep that statistic in mind, we'll come back to that later. Despite the high cost, the company Gold Star will manufacture their own model of the 3DO for $399, which is a huge kickdown from price. The company Sanyo, the same company that made My Illegal Russian Beast, also produced their own model of the 3DO, but that version was only released in Japan. The 3DO was released in Japan on March 20th, 1994. 70,000 units shipped to 10,000 stores, but soon after that, the sales dropped, and by 95, the only thing the 3DO was known for in Japan were porn releases, because the internet wasn't very easily accessible back then. Remember those licensing agreements that were signed? Well, it turns out that some of the companies that signed up for deals never actually ended up releasing 3DO consoles for sale. Samsung, AT&T, and Toshiba never ended up making 3DO consoles for sale. AT&T did make one as a prototype, and they did show it off at a trade show, however it was never shown again after that trade show, and it was never released to the public, as you can probably tell. And to my knowledge, neither Samsung nor Toshiba ever made one in prototype, and if they did, they've never shown it off, so to my knowledge, I've never been able to find one from either of those. Eventually, the 3DO company decided they needed a new system to sell, and this was dubbed the Panasonic M2. This wasn't ever released as a console. Why? Nobody knows, but comparing leaked game footage, a release date of 1997, and the Dreamcast just a year away that had obviously superior technological and graphical capabilities, releasing the Panasonic M2 would have just been industrial suicide for the 3DO successor. It would have been caught between the PS1 and N64 and the Dreamcast. Now, despite what I just told you, the M2 was released in some form. But wait, you just said it wasn't!
So what is the truth?
Well, it was released as a coffee machine. Imagine playing Gex on a frickin' coffee machine. I'd play that. And that's the history of the Panasonic 3DO. The company went third-party software developer and continued to exist until 2003, where they went bankrupt and they were never seen again. If you're interested in actually buying a 3DO for whatever reason, it'll run you anywhere from $150 to $500 on eBay, depending on the model you want. If you want an M2 dev kit, there's a bunch of them floating around, but they're very expensive, and they catch prices up to $3,000, I think. So, you know, get on that, Mr. President. If you like this video, be sure to click up here in the card to see the last 2 videos uploaded on this channel, as well as my social media handles, and be sure to tweet at me or post a comment here, Instagram, wherever, that tells me what you want me to make a video on, because if I like the idea, I'll do it, and if I don't, well, I don't really have a choice. If the internet rules it, it must be done. But if this is where we part for today, this has been Gaming History 101. Thank you so much for watching. Peace.